All right, it's time to really start digging into the Cisco IOS, and the first thing we must know is how to navigate through the Cisco IOS. So there are two different modes within the Cisco IOS, and then there's submodes to one of those modes. So we're going to talk about the user exec mode and the privilege exec mode, and then all the submodes to that privilege exec mode. So I'm on a switch right here. If I hit enter, it's going to come up with a prompt. This prompt consists of the host name and then the something that's going to designate what the mode that I'm in is. And so the host name of this device is just switch. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. And then I see a greater than sign. The greater than sign is actually showing that this is in user exec mode right now. The user exec mode is really just to get on and do some real basic troubleshooting of these devices. You really don't do much configuration within the user exec mode. It's just to get on, do some troubleshooting, test for some connectivity. So you really don't do much in the user exec mode. Most of the time, you're going to have to get into privilege exec mode in order to do what you need to do on these devices. So let's learn how to get into the privilege exec mode. We're going to type in enable, and that brings us into the privilege exec mode. There's not going to be often that you need to go back to the user exec mode, but just so you know how to do that, you type in disable. That brings you back to the user exec mode so you can go between the two. Notice the difference between these two, specifically in the prompt. You have a greater than sign for the user exec mode, and you've got a number sign or a pound sign for the privilege exec mode. So that's how you know which mode that you're in. Now, I did mention that there's a lot of sub modes also. So let's take a look at that. There's a lot of sub modes to the privilege exec mode. So when you are in the privilege exec mode, maybe we need to do some configuration. There's not really much configuration that happens here at the privilege exec mode at the base level here. We need to actually take it a step further. We take a step further to the sub mode called global configuration mode. To get into global configuration mode, you type in configure terminal. I hit configure terminal, then we can see my prompt has changed now, and it says config here. And so that lets me know now that I'm in the global configuration mode. In this mode, what the idea behind it is that I am going to be doing configurations for the switch as a whole. So anything that's global or switch wide happens in here. If I'm making specific changes to maybe some interfaces or routing protocols or something a little more specific, then that I have to go into a sub mode of this to change those interfaces or change those consoles or change. We're going to take a look at that in a second. But for now, just know that at this level, generally speaking, the commands that we issue at this level are going to affect the switch as a whole, not those specific interfaces, not those specific elements. So then, like I say, is that let's say we want to dig a little deeper and we want to configure a specific interface or something on this switch, then I need to go into one of these submodes, and then I'm going to type in, so for instance, maybe I want to do the line console, so I type in line console and the line console number, so in this case 0. Now I can see that I am now configuring the line console here. And it's by dash line. I can see that it's one of the lines that I'm configuring here. Now, let's get into how do we exit out of a mode, and you just type in exit. So exit, it brings us back to the global configuration. Maybe I need to get into one of the VTY lines. So I'm going to do line VTY 0, and quite often we do 0 through 15 at the same time. I'm just going to type in 0 for this case, and you can see that I get into the line. There's not anything really that specifies between the fact this is the VTY line and this is the console line. So you'll just have to know, be cognitive of what you have gone into and what you're configuring, because you don't want to make assumption here and then end up configuring the wrong interface or the wrong line. All right, so now I'm going to exit out of that, and maybe I want to go into one of the interfaces. So I type in interface and fast Ethernet. Maybe I'm going into 014. I type that in there, and now I'm in 014. Once again, it's letting me know that I'm in one of the interfaces, but it doesn't let me know which interface I'm in. So I'm going to have to know what I got into and what I'm programming. And once again, I could hit exit to get out of this. You don't actually need to go back to the global configuration mode to get into the next interface. If I want to go from interface to interface, or maybe I want to go back to the line console, right from here I can type in line console 0, and it'll actually take me back to, let me put a space in there. It'll take me back to my line console. We can see that I've gone from the interface to the line console. Let me do that one more time because I'm in the interface, and now I want to go to the line console, and you can see that I've jumped directly from the interface to the line console. Here again, maybe I want to go back a level. I can hit exit and go back a level. Maybe I want to hit exit again, go back a level again. If I type exit at this point, then it'll actually take me out of this switch. And so now I'm out of the switch. One other thing that I want to show you, I'm going to get into the enable mode. I'm going to go into global configuration mode. So configure terminal. Maybe I'm in one of the interfaces. So I'm going to go into interface, fast Ethernet 014. And now I'm inside that interface. If I hit end, it's going to bring me all the way back to the privilege exec mode. So that way I don't have to hit exit and then type exit again. I'm going to get actually into there again. So I'm going to get into the global configuration mode. I'm going to go into interface, fast Ethernet 014. So I'm in with the interface. The other thing I can do is I can do a control+z, and then it's going to bring, that's a little shortcut. So that shortcut can bring me back as well. So there you go. So there are some ways that you navigate in and out of these different modes, and it's going to be important for you to understand how you navigate in and out of these different modes, because we'll be doing it quite a bit throughout this course. Hope you're enjoying the videos. If you like them, could you hit that like button?